This was
Wow.
legislation that actually two Jewish prominent members of Congress were very much against, as a matter of fact. Bernie Sanders and Dianne Feinstein have openly criticized this for obvious First Amendment violation boundaries.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
Like
it's,
I heard
well,
there's like some anti-Semitism bill that was happening today. I haven't read about it yet, but I
yeah,
didn't know there was something that was going on that was already on the books, man. That's crazy.
yeah. Well, would it shock you to find out that there's actually 35 other states, many of them red states, as a matter of fact, that claim that they care about First Amendment and no restriction on free speech? Ironic, because
Yeah.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott actually said that in Texas college campuses, even outsiders can come to campus and demonstrate to the best of their ability. It was
Like 2021, I think.
2019. He
Oh,
wrote
was it a little bit later or earlier? Yeah.
yeah, he signed legislation into law, which he has personally violated himself by using the government. So free
Are
speech.
you talking about the recent one?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no matter what happens, like the idea that like every single protest has to go through like a permits process is obviously, I think, a little bit ridiculous, because like it is there, that permit process is there to like genuinely make the state restrict certain kinds of speech and only allow other kinds of speech to exist, which in my opinion is in direct violation of the First Amendment in the way that we understand it.
I can
So
see why you say
people
that.
make laws all the time.
Oh yeah, of course they do. And yeah, I see what you're saying. Absolutely. And I think that there's probably a middle ground with that, where it's like if people are protesting and there's a tent there, it's okay. It's probably not a really big deal. But I still do think that the university, or especially other like private businesses, should have every right to tell people not to be there, because it's also their private property. Like, I think somebody's right to protest is really important, but I think it's also important that somebody has a right to have autonomy over their own property, especially whenever if something happens to somebody there, they could get sued for it too.
Yeah.
So, and I think that that's really kind of what the problem with like a lot of this is that I think that like you and I probably align with a lot of the different like opinions that we have in terms of like Israel or Zionism or anything like that. I just don't really think that these methods are effective. And I think that they alienate a lot more people than they bring in.
I think
Like
if
whenever
the
I'm go
I think
ahead.
if the student protests were not effective, one,
Yeah.
they would not have actually had multiple universities at this point meet their demands, like in Northwestern and in Brown University, and now as recently as a couple hours ago, Rutgers University has met the demands of Students for Justice for Palestine, which has led to the peaceful dispersal of the encampments. But beyond that, I think that another testament to the success of these protests is the violent reaction of the state, because in some